What's up, everyone? Welcome to Half Hour with Astra Theater Company. My name is Taylor Harlow. I am the founder and artistic director, and we are joined today by a KC theater. I'm gonna say icon. I'm gonna say the verbiage icon. You know her from her work all over KC. The one, the only, Bri Woods.
Hi, everyone that can see me and hear me.
Yeah, we're doing all the audio-visual methods, baby. You get it all. Bri, how are you?
I'm okay. I'm not bad. I'm not great. I'm right in the middle, which I think is the healthiest place to be right now.
The
So I'm
Goldilocks.
gloating. Yeah, I'm Goldilocks. Yes. So I'm doing really well. My health is great. I'm here with my family in Kansas City in my makeshift office that I built out of PVC pipes and blankets in my basement.
Wow,
So
I didn't know that you were also a carpentress in addition.
I did add some things to my special skills over the year, as we all have, and PVC pipe cutting has become a really big special skill for me. So if anybody needs a rickety old house built out of PVC pipe, I can come over and do that very quickly.
A rickety old house.
Yeah, it's not gonna hold, but it'll be fine.
But you can do a killer self-tape in it.
Yeah.
So our first little segment that we're going to dive into with you, Bri, is you were born and then what happened. So where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to school? And as I like to say, as we say in the biz, when did you get the bug?
Okay. My birth story is complicated. No, it's very simple. I was born in Iowa, Mount Pleasant, Iowa. My dad is a military dude, so we left like a month after I was born, partly because my dad got stationed someplace else, but also because my mom hated Iowa. No shade to anybody who's from Iowa, but I hear it sucks. And then we moved from Iowa to Mississippi. And I was there until I was around 5 or 6. I like to say I got a lot of Southern charm from my time in Mississippi that was washed away when I moved to Kansas. And like my whole family, both my mom's family and my dad's family, a lot of them are somewhere in Kansas, Atchison, Topeka. And we just wanted to be closer to family and get me and my brother both rooted for school. So I've been in Stillwell, Kansas, right by Blue Valley High School. Don't stop me. For the last, 20, 21 years or so.
Did you go to Southwest?
No, I went to Blue Valley. Southwest was a thing after my freshman year.
Okay.
So I had the option of literally my backyard is the football field. Stadium field, whatever.
It's very Friday Night Lights.
It is. It's really cute. You get to hear the band in the mornings. And so I told my parents I would walk to school, but I never did. I always drove. I paid for a parking spot. It was the stupidest thing. I should have just walked, but I drove to school.
Hey, sometimes the extra 10 minutes of sleep is really worth it, especially when you're in high school.
Yeah, and it worked out for me. So I went to Blue Valley High School, did theater there to keep from coming home because I was always grounded.
You're a troublemaker.
I really wasn't. I was just terribly honest. And I had too many opinions for my little body that were like really not founded in any sort of truth. I was just like really angry and yelling all the time about what I thought about things. And so I was grounded all the time. And so it was the option of like after school activities, sports, not coordinated enough, math club, not smart enough. Drama I was great at because I could yell really loud. So
Isn't it funny how that's how we how we end up there? All the misfits were like, well, yeah. I can't run very fast and I'm kind of dumb at a few subjects, but I do love attention. So
yes, I think I could do well here, and I did. And then I went to the University of Kansas. I was
Go Jayhawks.
Go Jayhawks. I was persuaded to do a business degree. And
I think lots of people.
Yeah, I was there. I didn't. I went under it Because where I was, there weren't like there wasn't any representation that looked like me. So anytime I
Mm.
went to like an advisor or something, I'm like, I don't know if Black people go to college for theater. So you should just get a business degree. So I went
Oh,
and I got a business degree. Or I went under to get a business degree, and then for my humanities, I took an acting class, and they're like, "You love this, and you're good at it. Why are you not majoring in this?" And so I switched my major.
that's so cool. So how long were you, I mean, not cool that it took that for you to find that path, but how long were you on the business track for?
4 weeks,
Okay.
about a month. And it was one of those things where I was truly like, went in, had the like label of being like, okay, maybe I'll do like
Uh-huh.
business, but I'll find I'll take a journalism class, I'll take some humanities classes along the way and see what I like. And then it was just dumb. It was a dumb decision. I was just good at theater. I'm good at it.
Right.
Um,
But
and
by this
so
time you had already, but I assume you said that you started doing drama in high school. You had already
yeah,
been bitten by the bug. You knew you were good
yeah.
at it. You liked doing it. You like knew very much that that was your tribe, right?
Yeah, no, I was a total theater kid.
Yeah.
It was just I did not know, and it's funny that we're talking about this because I think a lot of theater makers and artists right now are circling back around to be like, how do I do this feasibly
Hmm.
and still take care of myself and still like pay my bills and figure out like how does this fit into my future? And my parents weren't they weren't artistically inclined. They didn't know really like how we didn't know about like
Training,
conservatories or
auditioning.
yeah, we
Yeah.
didn't know any of that stuff. We just knew that there was plays and musical that you did in high school, and
Mhm.
that some colleges, state colleges for me, it's like KU or K State, I knew that they both had theater departments. So I was like, cool, I can still do some theater, but it won't be my major until I was like, I'm not very good at the business track, and I'm very, very good at this theater thing.
So you were like attempting to kind of feel like to you were trying to be satisfied with going into college
Yeah.
and saying that I'm just going to do this thing on the side.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And
then
that's,
it became apparent that that wasn't going to cut it.
I was just like, and for me, it's always, I'm such a little brat, but I was like, we're paying all this money to go do school. Um, and what I should have thought if I was a smart person, I should have said, I'm paying all of this money to go to school. I should get this business degree because it's going to pay me back. But what I did instead was I'm paying all of this money to go to school and I hate the subjects that I'm not interested in any of the subjects that I'm taking. The only thing that like really that I get up to go to class for are my theater classes.
Hmm.
So then that was the big switch, and it's just funny how life works because I was barely ever there after my junior year because I was just here in Kansas City working the whole time.
Right.
So the degree then became like a longer thing of Bri, when are you going to be in class long enough for us to give you a passing grade? I was like,
But I
maybe
think
next
I
show.
think
I
it's
don't know.
so strange. Like, and I think it's worth mentioning your observation about artists sort of like having this come to Jesus moment about like, why do I do this? Who do I do it for? Is it even making me any money during a
Yeah.
pandemic? Because it is sort of the first thing to go and be cut. But I just find it interesting that we have to like inherently find worth in our art, usually via money, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's important to be able to make a living for yourself, but also studying it is not like studying business or econ or something where you sort of have a set track and you get an internship and then you get a good job, or you know someone, you get a good job. Like it doesn't really have a predictable pathway. I remember coming
Mm-mm.
home for like Thanksgiving and stuff when I was in school, and relatives being like, so you have an internship, or like, where's your next job coming? You know, all of that stuff. And it doesn't play by any of the rules. So I think it's an interesting observation that like we're circling back to that
Yeah.
now, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, it's just so strange and so like a gift that we are getting to examine like all of these things right now, as much as it
Mm.
sucks to just not have a consistent amount of work, it is a nice gift to be like, okay, so what about it do I really love enough to like continue this crazy thing of not getting paid to like just pursue my passion for a minute? Like,
Yeah.
what is it, that thing? So yeah, it's really interesting right now.
Yeah. Big gift of time right now for
Yes.
sure. And a lot of folks at the beginning were like, oh, I'm so bored. Like, I don't know what to do with all this time. And I can definitely empathize with that a little bit, but I've been trying to also look at it through the lens of like, what can I do with this time? Can I be learning something or reevaluating or restructuring? And I feel like a lot of folks have sort of come to that idea of like, we have a lot of time right now. How can we like best use it?
Yeah.
So was there like a formative moment or like actor or actress or show or thing that you saw that made you be like, oh, this is for me. This is my shit
Yeah.
as a
It
kid?
was, I have 3 definitive moments.
Okay.
The first was, and they're all movie musicals. So yes. It
Caveat.
was just like, don't judge me. That's all we had here.
Sure.
Moulin Rouge, Nicole
Ugh.
Kidman. That was the first time I knew what a musical was.
Hmm.
And we watched it on repeat, and I did not understand that it was like about prostitutes, go sex workers.
Sure.
But at the like time
Absolutely.
it was before like people were pro ho. So I didn't really get what the story was about, but I knew it was like the best. And Ewan McGregor was the best, and
Oh,
Nicole
come on.
Kidman was the best. And so I was like, I want all of this schmaltz and this pageantry, and I just want to wear like jeweled corsets for the rest of my life.
Absolutely.
How do I do that?
And the life that they're leading, it's bohemian. They're drinking
Yeah.
absinthe. They're having fun,
Yeah.
and truth, freedom, beauty, and love. I was like, what more does a person need?
It really, like, it's the corniest, but when you see it when you're 7, it's the truth.
Yeah.
So that's what started it for me. I think like Nicole Kidman was the first time I knew like what an actress was. I was able to be like, that person is doing a really good job in this show.
Mm-hmm.
Before I was like, oh yeah, Ariel's really stupid, like she should listen to her dad. But like now I'm like, oh, the story is a thing, and there are people that play that and like write it and put it together. So that was the first time. And then it was compounded again in my musical. What's my musical? Phantom.
I do know this about you.
It's so bad, but
It's bad
Phantom.
good.
It's bad good. But it was that thing where and I wrote like an essay about this to try to get into grad school that I didn't get into, but it's still a good essay. I wrote an essay about how we saw Phantom on like this really like snowy night, and we saw it at this movie theater. It used to be the Palazzo. I don't know if you ever went to that.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, the balcony, like that old Tuscan
Of
feel, and it's
course.
got the big balcony and the
Fountains.
fountain.
Yes.
So we
And
saw
you're talking
Phantom.
about the movie that came out in like 2004 or 5, right?
2005, yes. Yeah. I think 5 or 6,
so
one
too.
of those two.
Fact check us. Audience, fact check us.
Yes, please send it in. But it was, it's awful. But again, I'm 10, 11, 12, somewhere in there. And I thought it was really, really good. I was like, this is a great musical. Gerard Butler did an amazing crossover from 300 to the Phantom of the Opera.
He's so versatile.
And I knew Emmy Rossum from the Disney Channel movie Genius or something like that. Anyway, So I'm watching the movie. We're with my brother, and at that time, there was another movie that was coming out. It was either like an Adam Sandler movie or some like big blockbuster comedy that he wanted to see, but we had to go see
50 First Dates or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Great movie.
So we go and see this one, and my brother's just like got his arms crossed the whole time. And so we leave, and I was like, that was the best ever. Thank you, Mom and Dad. It was so amazing. I can't agree with your decision to take us to this movie enough. And he was like, it was really scary, wasn't it? And that's all it took for me to just be terrified. I was like, oh my God, he hung somebody. It's a night just like this. I'm terrified. I have several mirrors in my room because I'm a narcissist at 12.
Sure.
And so I had to cover all the mirrors in my room for
like some sort of Shiva.
Yeah, I was terrified. I knew he was behind the mirror. I had to start sleeping in my
And
brother's room.
that
So
made you want to start acting? Or that was
yeah,
just
because I was like, that is the scariest thing. And I just like realized how much of an effect that awful movie had on me. But it was just like I mean, I couldn't sleep in my own room with the mirrors for like 8 months. I had to sleep in my brother's room or read
Jesus
myself to
Christ.
sleep.
As if he
So I
didn't
was
hate that
just,
movie enough. He's like, I told you
yeah.
we should have saw 50 First Dates.
Well, I was like, it's your fault. You pointed out it was scary. I thought it was amazing. And then that one person, that one review, which I think thinking about it right now as we're like talking about that, it's funny how like reviews can mess up actors and theater in
Oh,
anyway.
yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that just like one word from him being like, that was really scary. I was like, oh my God. And I was
You're
just
right. I'm
shaken.
terrified.
I don't know what to do with myself anymore. So that was point number 2. And then
Okay.
point number 3 was Dreamgirls.
Oh.
And that came out, I think the year after
Mhm.
Phantom did. And this was the first time I saw myself
Mm.
in a musical, and I was just like taken by like how awesome the story was and the music. And it was one of those things for like POCs specifically, and especially Black people. If you're in a musical or if you're into musical theater and Dreamgirls, I can't tell you like how many times I've been sitting across the room from somebody and I just hear like someone just go, step into the bedside. And I know instantly that you're my friend. And I'm like, okay, cool. We
Yeah,
both are down with Dreamgirls. We both think it's
absolutely.
the most amazing thing. So those were my 3 moments when I was like, okay, I've got to do this. But
Yeah.
they're all movie musicals, which during quarantine, I'm like, that's all I ever want to do anymore.
Yeah,
It's
but I
just
mean, as much as it is like easy to hate on those sometimes, especially now that we're like older and seasoned artists, like there is something to be said about the impact that it has on being able to reach such a wide audience,
yeah,
and theater isn't super accessible even if we're talking like national tours and stuff, but if you make
yeah.
it into a movie, suddenly like a lot more people and kids can see that and have access to it and be affected by it.
Well, especially like for us, where I am, where like my family house has been forever,
Hmm.
we're only about half an hour away from Kansas City and the art scene. But if you are, even that far away, you don't know about it unless somebody is there to tell you or to
Yeah.
guide you. But if you're out here, I mean, um, there's some like community theater out here, but other than that, there's no existing, or when I was growing up, there wasn't any existing theater that you could go see that didn't take like an hour-long drive.
Or didn't
And
cost an obscene amount
yeah,
of money.
like
Yeah.
a $60 ticket for everybody. You can't just go
Oh,
do that where we
minimum.
are.
That's for like a bad seat in the
Right.
in the
That's
host
all we had.
place.
That's all. If we went to
Same,
see something
same.
live, we were in the cheap seats.
Yeah. Of course. I mean, I used to get like occasionally I would get tickets to see shows downtown via like it would be like my stocking stuffer. It would be only 2 tickets. So my parents are very clearly like, you go with a friend. This isn't really our thing, and we can't afford to take 6 of us. So go do your thing and come home and tell us about it.
That's a really sweet stocking stuffer.
Was I have lovely family. I'm very thankful for them. Okay, so let's transition a bit into what you're doing now. What's your career like now that you've been like post grad? What projects have you recently been working on, et cetera, et cetera? And that will lead us into where you want to go in your career and where we want the industry to go as well. Hopes,
Sure.
dreams, prayer
Sure.
requests.
Right now, slim pickings, huh?
Yeah.
It's
Mm-hmm.
not a lot. I am continually blessed and fortunate enough to be home and just be able to just go, hey, if you guys are doing anything, I just want to let you know that like I'm available and would love to do it. So I just got to do a recorded version of a fireside version of A Christmas Carol.
Yes, talk a bit
Um,
about that. It seemed so lovely, all the pics. I'm so
it was
excited.
really wonderful. So I've been a part of the Kansas City Reps tradition of A Christmas Carol for the last, I think this would be year 6. But I'm calling it like 5B because
Sure.
it's just like a little bit off from what we usually do.
Mm-hmm. Which we should
Um,
also inform our listeners and watchers that that is where our paths crossed last year.
yeah, for
Just
the
this
first
time
time.
last year.
It's so weird because I keep saying to Sam, my partner, that we should be there. Just like it's
Yeah.
it is the weirdest feeling to know that no one is in those halls.
Because
And
someone always is, right?
because
Yeah.
someone always, that for the
Yeah.
last, what is this, the 40th year, I think, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
The last 40 years, there's always been a some kind of Christmas show going on in it. I know that everybody is who has ever been involved in that, who has ever watched it or has who ever made it, just feels that loss.
Yeah.
So it was really ghosty, kind of,
Sure.
to be doing this production with or this screen thing with that in mind, of just being like, I really want to honor those who like can't be there,
Mm.
um, and really want to endow this thing that we're doing with as much like grace, um, and like humanity as possible, because there's so many people that should be here but can't.
Yeah.
um and it has to be done in order for us to be able to do it next year if there's
Yeah.
a possibility of things coming back. So
Of course.
it
Well,
was
I think it's
really,
just so amazing that they were able to do something at all because,
yeah,
I mean, Christmas Carol, like you said, is a huge part of Kansas City, but also a huge part of just the artistic community in general. It's like a staple,
yeah.
folks have been doing it and participating in it for so long. So I think it's really awesome that they're able to pivot and do something. I'm super excited to see what it is.
Yeah, it was great. It's just the four of us doing it, and I think opening night is actually tonight, which, if today is the 23rd of November.
Hmm.
Um, and
Party
it'll go
time.
and it'll go through, I think, the 31st of
Oh my
December.
God. Opening night. But did your mom make you a dress?
I have no dress for Christmas this year. I just
Wow.
have no, we've got Thanksgiving on the brain,
Okay.
Colonizers Day, and um
Absolutely.
we, so we're gonna wait. We've been working on the Christmas picture. That's what we've been working on this year.
Okay. Very
Yeah.
cool. We should let people know Bri has a tradition. As she said, she's been at Christmas Carol for several years at KCRep, and opening night is, I believe it's your mom makes a dress that you wear, right?
Yeah, my mom makes me a dress every year. It's a great way for us to bond and to bitch at each other.
Sure.
And
Always looking for new ways to do that with my parents. I don't know
yeah.
about you.
But it's a nice little tradition that I decided to give her a break this
Sure.
year. I was like,
Yeah.
you can take this time off. You don't need me screaming at you. Where
Bigger
am I gonna
fish to
wear it?
fry.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, that's it. So that's Christmas Carol.
And you were in process of moving to New York pre-plague, right?
Yeah, so I was there for a month.
And you booked a
Uh
show, we should
I booked
say.
I did book a show, and I was really excited about it, and then we got to day 6 of rehearsals and the city shut down,
Hmm.
and everything shut down, and then my job shut down, and then they were like, we're never going to survive this. So I was like, okay, no income, no show, big old apartment. I have no grocery money. So I called my mom. I was like, Mom, either I have enough money to buy groceries or I have enough money to buy a plane ticket home. So I took the plane home,
Of course.
and I've been here since March. So I had an apartment for 1 month in New York, and now I'm home with my mom, which
Ain't that the way?
has been, yeah, and it sucked because the show I was in, I was really excited about, and I
Which
met a
was
lot of.
what?
We were doing Floyd Collins
Mhm.
musical, Americana musical, one of the best. If you don't know it, look it up. The music
Adam
will,
Gettle, right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Hmm.
The music will
And
just
that
like
was at
rip your heart out. Columbia,
Columbia. Yeah.
yeah. So that happened, and then I came home, and it has been a nice pivot for me,
Yeah.
because now I'm in that place that everybody's in where you're picking up new skills.
What are your new
And
skills, Bri, besides PVC pipe cutting?
PVC pipe cutting. I've gotten really into photography and filmmaking.
You bought a new camera. Did I make that
I
up?
did. No, no, we've talked about this.
We both bought
I
new cameras during the plague.
we bought new cameras, and so I wrote a short film and filmed it on my way to pick up my things from New York. So it's all about the RV trip because you're talking about getting a U-Haul. We got an RV.
Oh, wow.
And so me, my dad, my
That's brave.
mom, and my brother drove and stayed in RV parks in certain parts of Trump country,
Oh,
and
sure.
had I just was, bless their hearts, I turned my whole family into actors, and I directed them throughout this
Art
whole
imitates
thing.
life, baby.
It is, and it just kind of worked out for the best. So I'm in the process of editing my first short film.
That's
Uh,
so cool. Congrats.
yeah,
Seriously,
thank
that's
you.
awesome.
Thank you. We'll
Yes.
see when it comes out. It may never come out, but
I have been noticing this because I too have been jumping into this a little bit too with the new camera that I bought, but there's a little part of my brain that is like, I guess I think this is like imposter syndrome a little bit. That's like, you don't know what you're doing. Like, this is going to be
Mm.
bad. Like, people are going to tell you to stop doing this, and I
I
constantly just have to be like, shut up. I spent a lot of
yeah.
money on this camera. I'm going to
Yeah,
fucking learn how to
I
use
have to. I have. That's exactly what I was gonna say. I was like, no. I spent like way too much of my government money to buy this
this is a
new
stimulus
camera,
check.
so I have to make this work. I just have had a lot of time to myself. So at first I started on YouTube University, and then I bought a very, very, very cheap class from somebody who does like a YouTube tutorials on
Cool.
how to do film. So I have a cheap ass class from Buff Nerd Media.
That sounds
Um,
amazing. Don't say cheap ass class. Buff Nerd is
really,
you're gonna win an Oscar. I can smell it.
but it is like it's somewhere for me to put my mind in my hands, so I can be busy and not go stir crazy. I always, if I'm not like learning or working on something, I go insane.
Really?
I am
You
that
bad at
person.
sitting still?
I am very, very bad at sitting still. I was good at it at the beginning, um, because I started like painting, and that was really
Mm.
nice.
Hmm.
But then I was like, okay, but
But
how
then a
do I
week
get this?
passed, and
Yeah, it was, how do I get this stroke the way that it's supposed to be? I'm seeing other people's strokes and they don't look like mine. So I
Hmm,
would start studying that, and then I was like, yeah, okay. Painting became really stressful.
sure.
And the filmmaking thing is the only thing that I've been studying so far that hasn't become stressful.
Yeah. Do
And
you
I
feel
actually
like
just really
this
like
is
it.
something that I struggle with a little bit, and I know that some other artists are prone to this, but I sometimes it goes along with what I was just talking about. If I find that I'm not making the best possible product, or if I find any flaws in it, then I'm like, I gotta stop. It's not perfect, which makes
Um,
no sense pedagogy wise, because really the only way to get good at something is to just keep doing it. But sometimes I
no,
have to like swat that out of my brain.
no, I feel that. So the short film we did, um, was like the first. I had been fiddling around with lighting. I brought all of my lighting, so I brought all of my gear with me, which was probably not the best idea because we didn't know if I was going to be able to fit all of the things from my apartment that we were moving out. The real reason we were doing this in the first place.
Sure.
So I brought like all these props and the lighting kit that I bought, and didn't use it once. Um, and then I also like was trying to figure out audio. But as
Oh,
you know, Taylor, when you're in a car and you're driving, the car makes noises.
I have
And so
heard that.
that's all that I had this little cheap ass lapel mic,
Mm,
and all you could hear was the go 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 go
of
go go
course.
go go of the car going. So yes, I feel that because now I'm trying to navigate like, okay, so now I have to have my roommate in New York, and my parents and my brother and I do a lip sync to the entire short film.
A
so
lip
that
sync
you can,
battle,
a lip sync
essentially.
battle. So we have to like record on my microphone in my makeshift sound booth.
Mm,
And dub it over the film. So I'm already like, I know this is gonna look so stupid, but I'm like, I have to finish it so at least I can say I got the first one done. And
yeah.
now I know you don't want to do a short film in a moving RV unless you have the money to make it look like it's moving outside when it's really not.
Mm, yeah.
So yeah, no.
That's an admirable trait, though. I'm trying to be a little bit more like that, to just trial by fire and just try to take all the things you learn in stride and give yourself, a little grace to just keep growing.
And I think with that, like this might be bratty. I don't think anybody
It's like the
else
third
thinks
time
this.
you've called yourself a brat.
I'm a
And
brat. I know I am.
then-
But I am not of the camp that like if you make something you have to show it. I am of the camp that if you make something, you can learn from it. But does that mean that you are required to share that thing where you're still just learning? I don't
Right.
think you owe anybody that. And I don't think I
Hmm.
don't know if like displaying that is going to do me personally any favors.
It
I
sort of
know
comes
that
down to why we do it again, right?
right,
Am I doing it to learn and grow and to express myself artistically, or
right,
hopefully potentially give people jobs, or am I doing it for approval or validation from others or visibility?
right.
That's an
And
interesting dichotomy for sure.
yeah, I don't know. I struggle with outside opinions a lot. So I just have realized like in my old youth, because I'm still stupid young. But I realized like I have to tell
It's
myself
not it's not middle aged anymore. It's old
it's
youth.
I'm in my old youth. I have
Also not middle age. You're like 25.
I'm 26. My birthday was 2 days ago. You forgot?
Oh, no, I did. I saw the post with the wine and the Minskys, and that's a great way to celebrate a birthday.
It was great.
Happy
But
belated.
I have realized I just have to tell myself like I don't have to share everything because
Yeah,
not everything is what I want to share. If I want to share it, I'll share it, and if
right.
I don't have to. Mm.
I think that's great. Okay, our last little moment is about sort of where you want to transition into. Where do you see yourself in, 20 years when you're at the end of your old youth, when you're transition to the other age category above that. What are your hopes
um,
personally? Are there like specific roles you want to do? And also, what are your hopes for the industry at large, or our community, and
yeah.
any thoughts you might have on that?
I have several thoughts. I want to be in movies.
Mm,
Um, just I've known that since I was a kid, and quarantine has just really compounded that. Um, and sorry, you're gonna hear my dad
tap
driving
dancing.
in. No, he's just coming in. He's went and got his car fixed.
Oh.
Um, but yeah, okay. So I want to be in movies. I want to direct them. And then on the theater side, sure, there's roles that I want to play, but I've realized, like, again, quarantine blessing.
Mhm.
As shitty as it is, it's just a good time to think. I like being at the creative helm a lot more, which I didn't have the confidence and the experience to do
Do you mean
before
like
this.
producer, writer, director, like more on the
Um,
admin side, or?
No, writing, writing and starring, in
Cool.
projects that have been like made for me and people like me. Um, Khalif, Gillette
Hmm.
from Kansas City.
Hmm.
He has written a show, a series, a television series. So he's asked several other artists from Kansas City and across the country, POCs, to gather, and we have a writers group every week, and it is the most fulfilling thing.
That's so cool.
Um, so that's something that I want to see happen within the next 20 years, hopefully sooner. Um, and I have a dream now with Sam and we really want to work on our own like vaudeville, burlesque, variety type show.
Cool.
And so like ultimately what I'm realizing is like I don't need to I not that. What I'm realizing is that I know that I want to live above the building that all of my artwork happens in, whether it's a film studio or a like a jazz club or whatever. I want an event space that I can do whatever with, and then I just live right upstairs, and that eliminates gas mileage and money. I will be better for the environment because I won't have to drive from Kansas City to my house back and forth all the time.
So you see this happening in Kansas City?
Yeah.
Don't feel pressured to answer that question if you don't know. It's okay.
No, I mean we have been talking about it for a really long time and tossing back and forth ideas of where we'd like to be based. And we're both just kind of Kansas City kids. Yeah. Him more so than I. He's lived here like his whole life.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's something about like the magic that happens here that both of us just kind of being away for, the times that we have been in different places. And there's nothing like it. I just have never seen it anywhere else. So that's something I think to just build a base off of. I love Kansas City so much. I'm happy to be home.
Me too. I find more and more that I'm just really drawn to the community here. And I think it's so rich already, but I also think it's just such a fertile place for stuff to grow. Kansas City in general, I think, is like America's best kept secret right now, which a lot of people are like, what do you mean? But it's like affordable to live. There's bustling arts. There's amazing places to eat and drink, and you can actually afford to live there. So I would love to see it become this sort of like Minneapolis-esque.
I really think like it within the past like 10 years, it has already moved so much. So I'm really interested to see what's going to happen the next decade or so.
Me too. Well, thank you so much for joining us and chatting with us today and sharing your personal details and your hopes for the future. We really appreciate it. And last thing, I guess, is where can we find you and what are your next things coming up that you can sort of plug?
Christmas Carol, you can stream it. Go to the Rep's website, kansascityrepertory.com, and I'm sure there are better directions than I have.
We'll put a link somewhere. We'll help you out.
Thank you. Thank you. And you can find me on Instagram when I'm there. Kansas City 1924 on KCAT radio. I didn't talk about that at all, but it has been a saving grace during quarantine. It's the coolest radio show that's talking about what Kansas City was like in the 1920s, with like bootlegging and
some of Kansas City's like iconic theatrical actors and actresses. You must check it out. It is simply a must.
Nice gang violence versus ranchers versus cops. It's great. It's absolutely really great. So that you can find every Friday at noon on KKFI. I believe it's 90. It's either 98.1 or 90.1. Again, Taylor will give you a link.
I got
you. Or you can find it on the Kansas City Actors Radio Theater podcast on Spotify.
Boom.
And that's where you can find me.
Boom, boom. Amazing. Well, thank you again, Bri. And we will talk so soon. Thanks again.
Yeah.